Today, I'm making beaded bracelets.
Some assembly required.
Hello! It's summertime, which means Lily's back! My favorite assistant and helper, and person who gives me good ideas. So, we are going to make some really cool friendship bracelets today, and they are really super easy. You don't need to have any kind of knotting ability. You basically need to make a knot at the beginning and a knot at the end, and the rest of it is just moving thread around. It's my kind of project. So as you can see, we have made bracelets kind of like this before. I believe that there is a video. I'll link it in the description. It's still there. Should be. All you really need are embroidery floss. You can use the crafty floss. I don't know what it's for, but it's the kind that you can't really split in half. Or you can use regular embroidery floss. And one of these things, I don't know what to call them, little cardboard things. So for ours, and I'll show you how to make it in a second, you basically need some cardboard, a hole in the middle, and 8 little lines around the side. And that's really super easy to make. I'll show you. But I was thinking the other day, I bet you could put beads on these. I bet you could thread some little beads onto the strings, and as you're making them, just slide the beads on. So I tried it. And this is what I came up with. I'll make a better picture of what that looks like. But it works. So this is not going to be one of those videos where I'm like, nope, you can't. That's not possible. Sorry, bye. So first things first, we'll clear our other extra ones out of the way. And we may or may not get to this, but you can make them thicker if you make more notches. And this is how to make it. You get one little square of whatever your last box is that you got. And this has already got 4 sides, so you only need to make 4 more. So you just cut off the corners. They don't have to be perfect. They don't even have to be kind of perfect. And make a little hole in the middle. This part is a little bit less easy, but it's not that hard. Just want to make sure that your finger is not on the other side.
Don't want to stab your finger.
No, probably not. It doesn't have to be huge, but it also doesn't have to be tiny. It's not an exact art. And now you just make 8 little slices in the middle of each side. Now that is fine. I like to make them tiny, skinny little triangles so that it holds it at the end, but you can slide it in a little notch. There. That's it. Now we're gonna need 7 strands of our embroidery floss, about 15 to 18 inches long. I measure it from my longest finger to my elbow, because again, it does not have to be perfect. So we're going to cut those. Here we are. I chose black and white because I'm going to use these bright neon beads that you can't see. These ones.
And I chose reddish, orangey colors because I'm going to use these beads.
Awesome! So, the first thing that you have to do, or the next thing, I guess, is grab an end and just make a simple knot. Tie them all together. Leave a little bit at the end, not too much.
This?
Yeah, make sure everybody went through, which they seem to have done. And then you're going to take this knot and shove it through the hole. And then sort of tuck it right at the end. If the hole that you made is huge, you could hold it or tape it or something while you're working for the first little bit, and then you won't need to anymore. And now you have all these little stringies and all these little notches. You just put one in each. So I'm going to, and I don't think that it matters, I'm going to put all of my white ones in, and then I'm going to put all of my black and gray ones, but they're all going to move, so it doesn't matter. You just put them in, one string for each little hole. And this is when you find out if you counted right. If you forgot some. I think I got the right amount.
I'm pretty sure I have 7.
7! And then 1 will remain open. Now we have our little cardboard jellyfish. And as you go, let me just tell you, comb these. Because otherwise, if you wait too long, they will turn into a giant knot. And it's a lot easier to just keep them nice than to untangle that business. Now what I'm going to do, and if you're not going to add beads, you don't have to do this part. And I'm not sure that it'll even be helpful, but this is the way that I have decided to try to add my beads. I'm going to just make a mark on one of my little notches. And then I will put all my beads on one strand. And then every time I get to the strand, once I start doing the beads, I'll slide a bead down. We'll see how it works. You might come back later and say, yeah, you don't need to do that because it might not look great. So here's my plan. I am going to just make the bracelet regular, no beads, for an inch or so. Then I'll string all the beads on.
That's probably what I'm going to do too.
Yeah. So the first thing that we'll do is I'll show you how to make these bracelets. This seems like a good place to start, right? And then you can decide if you want to add the beads, you can add them. If you want to just make a bracelet with no beads first of all, that's cool too. I really like them with no beads, but I think beads is the next logical step. So, you take your cardboard, hold it with your notch facing up, and then you count 1, 2, 3 strings. It doesn't matter which way you count them, but you have to keep counting them that way because you can't switch in the middle. So I'm going to do it, like a clock. So I'll do 1, 2, 3. You pick this string out and replace it in the empty hole. You just switch it so the hole is facing up again. 1, 2, 3. That's it. That's it. If you don't want to do beads, this is all you do. Every once in a while, you'll notice that it's getting a little bit spider webby here. You pull your knot down. So we are going to just do this. I'm going to do inch and a half. Inch. I want to make sure that I leave myself enough space with no beads to tie the knot. This is an experiment. So I'm going to do a little bit. Lily's going to do you want yours to just go across here?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, we'll think about it. For this little guy, I wanted the beads to just go across my wrist. So I did, 2 inches or so. This is more than 2 inches, but I tried to do 2 inches or so. I did. I measured it with my middle finger because sometimes you don't have a ruler. So, here we go. So when your threads start to look like this guy, then you can start pulling your knot a little bit. It just pulls the bracelet in through the back. Okay, I have an inch or so, more or less. So that means that I'm going to put on my first bead. So what I've done is looped a little bit of thread. There's the loopy end onto my needle. I'm going to grab a bead and then string it onto my thread. So I'm going to put the little end of the floss through my thread loop and then zip, stick on the bead. Ta-da! Whoa, don't unthread my needle. Now, I'll put the bead right in the middle. Right there.
Nice.
And then keep on going. We'll see what it looks like when I have a few more. I decided to put beads on every time that the 4 white strands are lined up and the top strand is, the top notch is open. So we'll see what that looks like. So basically every time that the strings look like how I put them in at the beginning, I'm adding another bead. So we'll see how far apart that is when I put some more beads on. Lily is using a complicated process where she's got a whole chart that tells her which strand to put a bead on every time her marked notch is empty, and it looks really cool. Somehow, I have finished my pattern. I think it might be exceptionally large. I guess it could be an anklet. But what I did is I finished my little beading pattern and then just wove until there was about as much at the end as I started with. Now, all you do is kind of pinch the very end near the cardboard and then peel all the strings out. Probably I overestimated how much string you were going to need. Nobody is surprised. I can't estimate. So now at this end, you do the same thing that you did at the beginning, is just a simple overhand knot. Try to make sure all of the strings come through. And ta-da!
How are you already finished?
Well, mine was a lot simpler than yours. But definitely that idea worked. Just every time that your pattern was the same as you started, stick a bead on. I'm going to come up with another idea and make another one. So here's mine so far.
And here's mine.
Pretty.
I finally finished.
Yeah, that one was labor intensive. So now I'm going to try an 11 strand. So basically you just cut an extra couple of notches in your cardboard until you have 12 altogether, and then stick 11 strands in. And my plan, we'll see how it comes out, is every time one of my beady strings gets to my marked notch, I'll slide a bead on. I'm not sure if that will end up being very many beads, but we'll find out. But if you want to make an 11 strand, you just count 5 away from the notch and swap that one over instead of 3. It takes longer, but it ends up thicker. So it could be worth it. Why not? Mm-hmm. Any plans for yours yet?
I'm not sure.
Excellent. We'll see. We'll see what it looks like when we're finished. I may have overestimated how many beads I would need for this guy. I used 5 of each. I threaded on 32. So save yourself some time. You're not going to need that many. Unless you did it every single time that you moved the thread, then you would need more. I did not do that, so I have left over. That's fine. That's fine. All right, let me take this one off and we'll see how it turned out. Ta-da! These are cool. So I like them with the beads. I think that they're fine without the beads, but it turns out the beads aren't really that much harder to work in.
Yeah.
I mean, you just sort of pick a pattern and stick with it. You can try the ones that we did or make up your own. And you can make it longer, make it an anklet, make it a necklace if you're feeling ambitious.
Yeah.
But these are kind of a great thing to do in the car or in front of the television, listening to a podcast. I mean, they're portable because you don't have to really keep track of the place that you're in or which knot did you just do. You just pick it up and say, oh, 3, 1, 2, 3, and there you go, you're back. So I recommend it. I think it's a pretty good way to use your time. Waiting, car trips, any of those things. So thank you for watching. I hope that you try this. Really doesn't take much. I hope that you had fun with this video. We had fun making it. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. New videos come out
Every Saturday.
so stay tuned for the next one. And until then, be awesome. And we'll see you later. Bye. Bye.